My parents were from large families. My mother had four siblings and her parents, and my father had 5 siblings and his parents at home. And my father would always say that when the war broke out, there was some rumor around, but of course in those days you didn't have internet, and very rarely did you have a radio. So people really didn't know what was going on, but there's rumors of war going around. So my father said that all of a sudden one day out of nowhere, these big trucks came barreling, army trucks, Nazi trucks came barreling into the little town of Częstochowa where they live. And he said that the soldiers would get out on the streets and get on these megaphones, and they'd order everybody on the street out of their homes, come out of the street. And if you didn't, they would go from house to house and just make everybody come out on the street. They had no clue why, but that's what they did. They didn't know if it was going to be a bomb or they needed to evacuate for whatever reason. But that's when they started, the Nazis started separating families. So my father and his brother were taken away from his parents and his other siblings. My mother also with her sister came out, and her mom never saw her mom again, or her brother or sister. So everything was chaotic. And they sent one person to this place, one person to that place. So they were transported. Of course, they didn't know each other at the time, just happened to be from the same hometown. But my father was transported to a Częstochowa ghetto, and my mother was at the Warsaw ghetto with her sister. And then eventually they wound up in concentration camps. My father was in Buchenwald in Germany, and my mother was in Bergen-Belsen in Germany, 2 years.
How old were they?
My mother was 19, my father was 25.
Did they even know what was really happening at that time?
They had no idea. They had no. I wondered in my mind so many times if 6 million Jews were killed, plus others. If you knew you were going to be killed in your family, would you not fight back? They didn't know. They didn't know where they were going. And then they were on starvation diets, a crust of bread a day with a glass of water. That's all they got. So people were weakened and they get sick, and they had no idea. One of the comments my mom would tell us was, you know, my girls would say, "Grandma, how did you stand it? How could you do it?" And she'd say, "Oh, you cry, but you don't cry out loud." And that stuck in my brain. I said, that has to be the title of my book.
What would happen?
But God gave me this perfect trio. And again, I was a stay-at-home mom, and my kids started singing harmony when they were 3, 4, 5 years old. They just get up on the pulpit with us and sing, and we put Ben up on a chair when he was 5 years old and sang harmony with me and his dad, and it was just inbred. They all picked up instruments that they liked. Sonia started playing the mandolin when she was 7, and just by watching people. So I just know God let it be like this to be who we are today.
And you're everywhere today. You're everywhere today. Let's talk about some of the places and the awards you've received.
I think one of the biggest honors the Isaacs could have ever gotten in our whole career was in August of 2021. We're asked to become members of the Grand Ole Opry, and that was such a highlight of our life. We'd been to the Opry probably 30 years now as guests. Porter Wagner was the first one who had us on the Opry, and that was fun. So we'd go to the Opry, 4 or 5 times a year, whenever they would ask us, and we'd be there. But we were on stage. We were actually releasing our album called The American Face. And we asked if we could do it at the Grand Ole Opry one night. And they were very kind. They said, sure, we'll give you 30 minutes set, do a release. And we invited about 100 of our friends to come and get tickets and be there. So right in the middle of our 30-minute set on the Grand Ole Opry stage, Ricky Skaggs slips up right behind us. And I'm getting ready to introduce the main song, The American Face. And he has this big plaque. It's like just a really nice poster inside of a glass frame. And he walked up, he said, well, we have a presentation to make. And we just stood there, and he said, well, in Opry fashion, they celebrate every big event. And tonight is the premiere of your new album, The American Face. So the Opry made this plaque for you. And he read it off. He said, in honor of your release party here at the Grand Ole Opry, The American Face, we'd like to congratulate you. And we want to know if you want to become members. And when he said that, we all hit the floor. Becky was hopping across the stage like a rabbit. I went like this, and that's the only picture you caught of me. We couldn't believe it. It was amazing.